Jennifer Lindquist. I'm here at Kaleidoscope Gallery. No! He went. Hello, my name is Jen, and today I'm going to talk to you about where to start showing your artwork when you're ready. If you're an artist who's been doing artwork at home as a hobby or just in your spare time, you went to art school and got another job and now you want to start showing your artwork, we're going to discuss that today. So hopefully you'll hang out with me for a little bit and I'll just let you know a few of the things that I've learned, and hopefully you'll hear something you haven't heard already. So you've been creating your art at home for a long time now. You've gained a little bit of confidence and people say they really like your artwork, and now you're ready to start showing your work. So where do you go? Where do you even start showing your artwork? And to be honest with you, if you're not everyone wants to just go straight to showing their work online. For me, it was very important to get validation for my artwork. Like, I knew my friends and family liked it, but I wanted to see if that held up outside of my home and my friend and family group. So what I did was I started looking online for places to show my artwork, and to be quite honest with you, what happened was purely by accident. I saw something pop up in Facebook in my local area, and it was a call to artists. If you've never heard of this term before, which I hadn't heard of it before, I guess a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you can Google call to artists, or even better, go to Facebook and in your search, do a call to artists. And the ones that are going to pull up are the ones that are closest to you. And they'll come out, a lot of places will put a call to artists out every month for each event that they're doing, or if there's like a yearly event, you'll see a call to artists for that. That was the first place that I was able to get in touch with somebody to start showing my work. If you don't see anything when you just do it on Facebook or when you Google it, I would also suggest looking for local artist groups. Now, I live near Orlando, and I know there's a lot of art in this area. Not everybody lives near an artistic hub like I do. So it could be a little bit more difficult to find something, but I would still put in maybe the nearest decent sized town and then call the artists, or look for some art groups. We have Orlando artists here, and they put a call to artists in that group. They don't always necessarily put everything out for the world to see, because you know it's to usually stuff for our local artists. Sorry about that. Okay, so another thing that I would recommend and has worked well for me is looking up local art walks. I know I've mentioned this in a few other talks, and I think this was the second thing that I did, and it was suggested to me by a fellow artist at a gallery that I went to. And she was giving me the names of little art walks and farmers markets nearby that do art. And I actually found an art walk near my town, not in my town, but just outside. And the art walks are generally pretty inexpensive. You can usually get into them for somewhere between $15 to $30 for a showing. And as a word of caution, anytime you pay to get into a show, don't expect that you're going to sell something and make your money back. That's a small enough amount that it wouldn't take very much to earn your money back, but just know that it's an opportunity to show your work. You can get some feedback, and then the more you do these little art walks, the more people start looking for you when they're there. So it's a great place to just kind of get your name out there and get to know people, and just kind of, you know, be in the back of someone's head, because people aren't always on the lookout to buy art. So at the local art walks I go to, there's always a lot of jewelers and soap makers. It's kind of farmers markety, and not a lot of artists as far as acrylic and oil paintings out there, but they've been pretty good for me. I sell enough to more than cover my expenses, but obviously it's not every time I'm out there. I have some nights when I don't make any money, and I have some other nights where I sell a decent amount, and that makes up for more than the whole year of being out there. So that's a really great place to get started. And then if there are several different art walks around your town, you can try a few of them and see where you have a good fit. Local art walks. Okay, so another thing that I found that's, I guess you'd say, trending is the local breweries. And breweries are popping up everywhere, and a lot of them have been really smart and are doing activities. As same thing with some of the newer bars, and they'll have maybe a local paint night, they'll have a trivia night, and a lot of times some of them will have either art that they allow artists to put up on the walls, or they'll do an art show, an art market. And so I would definitely, you could Google those, but more than likely you'll need to stop in and visit some of them and check out their event flyers, or go to their web pages and see what events they have coming up. Usually if you go to that, like for us, we have, it's a Longwood brewery. Hourglass Brewery does a monthly art show. It's generally not the type of artwork that I do. They do more pop art, but it's pretty regularly, done regularly, and I wouldn't have known about it if we hadn't gone in during a show. They do advertise, but they advertise on their website. So unless you know to look for it, we probably would have never found it. So I have gone to those and purchased artwork at one of their shows. Also some small restaurants. So we have a small restaurant here in town in Orlando that actually does art shows over a month period, and they put in a call to artists. And for that one, they don't publicize it out. I joined their Facebook group so that I could receive the call to artists. Without that, I probably wouldn't have known, except for one or two people that I know told me to look it up. And which leads me to something I probably didn't mention yet, which is you really should get in with a group of other artists if you can find them. And a lot of times that starts with going to local shows and at least do one show and get to know people while you're there, or go and visit shows and get to know some of the artists while you're there as well. And then we tend to tell each other of good places to show your artwork, right? So we talk to each other, and that's where I hear about some of the other things. All right, so libraries. I'm doing the thing again. So a lot of local libraries do art shows every once in a while. So what I would do is look up the county libraries in your area and go onto their website and find out what kind of events that they're going to be doing. I don't know how they get advertised, but I have seen them online. So Google's probably the best place to look, or just walk into your local library and find out. And I'd say usually if you have a lot of little small libraries in your library system, it's probably going to be the biggest one. Like we have the Orlando Library for Orange County. They have smaller libraries outside, but that Orlando Library does a big art display on their bottom floor for local artists. I'm looking over here at my notes. Okay, so one thing I hadn't really thought about was local museums. Well, a lot of times actually do local shows. Now, several years ago, my daughter and I were out and about, and we went to a show at the, gosh, I should have written this down. It was a local museum. It wasn't the Science and Art Museum, it was something else. But they had a local art show out on the lawn. And then there's also the Orlando Museum of Art does art shows for local artists. So you're not showing in the Museum of Art, you're not a part of that, but they open themselves up to show artwork. So if you have any type of an art museum locally, check, because that's something say it's new, but I honestly don't know because I didn't know about it until about a year ago when someone at an art show that I was showing at told me about them and to try to get in. And a lot of times these shows have a subject. If you have art on this, or you're painting a piece specifically for whatever the show is, if it's a pop art show, if it's a nature art show, if it's a water art show, I've seen all of those. So you can decide if that's something that you want to paint artwork for that show, or if you already have artwork that would work for a show that you see. Okay, so that's museums with shows for local artists. Okay, the last one, I would say if you haven't already, sign up for Zapplication. That's Zapplication, and it's a website that hosts art shows. It's usually art festivals, art and craft festivals. And what I did is I went ahead and signed up and created an account. You upload a few little pictures and some information about yourself. You take a booth shot of your booth if you've ever displayed. And then they'll send you emails about upcoming events. Now, I did a lot of research on my own and put reminders on my own calendar, but it's really come in handy because if there's maybe one or two that I've missed and there's a deadline coming up soon, I'll get an email and I just scan through it and I look for any of the areas that I want to show in, which is Central Florida or anything along a Florida beach, because I do beach artwork, so it makes sense for me to stay along the coast. And then I'll just go in and I'll check out the details. Now, don't be fooled. The shows have an application fee, but you need to go in and look a little bit deeper and find out what the booth fee is, because a lot of them have like a $25, $30, $35 application fee, which the show will keep. And then if you are accepted, you'll have to pay an additional booth fee. And that's for like your big festivals, whether it's a 1-day or a 2-day festival. So just be aware of that before you apply to 20 of them. Dig deep into the details so you know how much you're going to pay if you get accepted for the show. Now, it was suggested in a video that I watched, I want to say one of Rafi Perez's videos. If you haven't checked him out, you should go ahead and do that. He suggested applying to a bunch and you might only get accepted to 1 or 2. I only apply for 1 at a time, and usually super local, because I'm just starting. Like I've said, this is only my 2nd year showing my work, and I want to take my time. If I don't get accepted in the spring to the show that I applied for, I'll just apply for something else in the fall, and so far that's worked out for me. If you're interested in seeing any of my new videos as they come out, go ahead and like and then subscribe, and you'll get notifications. If you want to see anything new as soon as it goes live or as soon as I post, ring the bell and then you'll get those notifications in your email box or as an alert. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining me, and sorry about the scratchy throat every time. It happens every time. So hopefully I'll see you tonight online, or maybe when the weather warms up, I'll see you at the beach, because I'm not going yet. Probably April. We're in March. Is that right? We're in March? Probably April I'll pull out the wetsuit and go start getting on the surfboard. So maybe I'll see you at the beach. Bye.